Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Kalen with Corner Culture, Thoughts Off the Mainstream. I'm Kalen. I'm the owner, operator, and host of this show. Wearing my Let's Go Brandon shirt today because Let's Go Brandon. I, by the way, just so happened to catch that whole thing live. I was waiting for the football game that was on after the NASCAR race, and so I was on that channel watching that whole thing transpire. I heard it live. I knew instantly when it happened that it was going to be an absolute epic mimetic event that would forever exist. And so I went online an hour later, and sure enough, the shirt was already available with the NASCAR logo and everything. And I thought, this is so funny. I have to buy this. And then of course I got into a bunch of arguments online about what Let's Go Brandon really means. And of course has always been my argument that it doesn't mean FJB only. Of course that is the event that happened where it was a bunch of people saying FJB, and the news host lady said, Let's Go Brandon, said that they are cheering Let's Go Brandon. But it meant so much more than that. It was vindication for the people who have been watching the mainstream media lie to them, to their faces for years about Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And it was vindication that the media is completely biased. So anyway, it was absolutely perfect. But so today, what I actually want to talk to you about is this clip that I saw on Twitter. It's a clip of Milton Friedman, famous economist and Austrian economist, essentially, making such a great point when it comes to public schools. And but I want to talk more specifically about the point he makes in regards to public schools, which is what they're discussing in this video. So give it a listen.
Public schools should not be in a monopoly position. They should have to compete with private schools. Why should a parent be restricted to using his tax money simply in those schools that are run by the government?
Yeah, my concerns here are the following. By the way, I should mention to you that in Palo Alto, where I am a member of the school board, voted in a policy that all graduates of Palo Alto high schools will be proficient in foreign languages. That will be a requirement for graduation. There's no private school in the country, to our knowledge, that sets that kind of standard.
Why should there be? Why should you be able to tell John and Jane that they necessarily have to be proficient in a foreign language? Maybe they'd rather be proficient in music or in mathematics or in something else. I don't see that that's anything for you to boast about. It's just a demonstration of your willingness to replace their judgment by yours.
That is such a great quote, and in fact, it's what they wrote here in the tweet, Students for Liberty. It's just a demonstration of your willingness to replace their judgment with yours. That's what this all comes down to. Whether it's public schools, whether it's healthcare, whether it's guns, it doesn't matter. You have one group of people who constantly demonstrate their willingness to replace their judgment with yours, and then you have everybody else who says, well, I think I should be able to choose, or I think they should be able to choose, and if they choose differently than what I feel, I'm okay with that. But there's a group of people who say, I'm not okay with that. You have to choose what I believe is the correct judgment. And they are willing politically to go through massive lengths, draconian, totalitarian, authoritarian, communist ways to get their judgment imposed on you. And it's so funny. They do this with everything, but except one issue. Can you guess what issue that is? Of course, it's abortion. They are completely inconsistent when it comes to abortion. And vaccines. Well, actually, I guess vaccines is imposing their judgment on there, so that's consistent with their whole ideology. But when it comes to abortion, don't you dare put your judgment on me, which is a whole other debate in and of itself. But that's what it all comes down to. It comes down to, are you for individual liberty? Are you okay with people making decisions that you disagree with, or are you not? And in this country, we have it is written in our laws. The spirit is that you have the right to make the choice to choose whatever the hell you want to do. It's up to you. And every time that we control the market, that we control the scope of choices available for people on a thing, whether that's school or healthcare. We are straying away from the Constitution. We are literally violating what the whole spirit of the Constitution is about, what the whole American government experiment is about. This constitutional republic that we have is meant to protect individual liberties and freedom and allow you the choice to do whatever the hell you want to do, even if it's self-destructive. Of course, that's not a good thing, but you have the right to do that. There are other mechanisms in place, or should be in place. I hate to make normative statements, I know, but there are other mechanisms in place that should safeguard or police certain behaviors, particularly self-destructive ones. And I believe that the solution there is always cultural. Okay, this is why the black community is in such decline. It's because they do not have the social apparatus built into their culture, or I should say that it has been taken away from them, because they did once have it. They actually did really well under Jim Crow laws. If you look at the statistics and you know the facts, they actually did really well under Jim Crow. Literal systemic racism. Black Americans did better then than they're doing now, and it's because they've been stripped of the social cultural apparatus that's supposed to protect people from self-destructive behavior. And it all starts with a strong family tie, with a mother and a father that are married, that work consistent jobs, have a nice high school education, value things like being on time and working hard and a meritocracy, and value things against things like the victimhood mentality, the oppression mentality, the victim Olympics, these kind of things that we see so prominently today on the left. In the richest, most privileged society in the world, we have an entire slew of people who just believe they're the most oppressed people on the planet. It's like you have literally never been anywhere else in the world. And again, this kind of ties back to what I talked to in a previous video about my past and my experience being on a cruise ship for 2 years and traveling almost everywhere in the world. I didn't go to Asia, I didn't go to Australia, and I didn't go to the poles, obviously. But I went everywhere else, literally everywhere else. I went to Africa, I went to the Mediterranean, I went to Scandinavia, I went to Central and South America, I went to all of the mother effing Caribbeans islands, and I even went to Hawaii and the South Pacific. I've been all over the world. I've heard dozens of languages. I've seen dozens of cultures, from Istanbul to Bora Bora, and everything in between. Brazil, I went up the Amazon River all the way to Manaus in the middle of the Amazon forest. And all the way down almost to Argentina, on the east coast of South America. I've been everywhere. I've seen it all, and believe me, I know for a fact I can say unequivocally that we live in the richest, most privileged society in the world, without question. Second only to Scandinavia, but we are not the richest. We are much richer than Scandinavia, just in terms of pure GDP. In terms of opportunity, in terms of raw resources and things like that, we are richer in that regard. However, as I pointed out in a previous video, we're actually not as free as Scandinavia, particularly Sweden. They actually consistently rank higher than the United States when it comes to economic freedom. And this is why we have people who would rather demonstrate their willingness to replace their judgment with yours. That's the problem. That's what needs to be called out whenever we're in debates with people. We need to call out the fact that you have no right to replace my judgment with yours. This is a free country, and that's what a free country is supposed to be. All right, that's all I got for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, and peace out.